And we are live. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Electric Bastionland. If anyone's in the channel, thanks for joining us. Join us. That's how you say that. If you're watching this later on YouTube or on VOD, thanks for thinking of us. We are going to be continuing our meat and cheese adventure, which was honestly supposed to be like, a one-shot and is not now. Now it's a trilogy. So I've been thinking, okay, it's the third arc of this adventure, and I was trying to think of like famous trilogies, and like I really hope this like goes the route of like Lord of the Rings as opposed to like Godfather, because like the third Godfather was just atrocious, and like the third whatever, never mind. But anyway, yeah, we're playing Electric Bashland again. It is a relatively new game, just came out a couple months back, got nominated for some Ennies at Gen Con. It is a game set in a newly modern metropolis, a city called Bastion, where all sorts of weird things are happening. We have aliens, we have mockeries, these like strange kind of toys that have come to life. We have weird machines in the underground. We have all sorts of absurdities and such going on. It's a very, very odd but wonderful and evocative setting. I'll give it in a moment here. I'll give everyone a chance to go around and tell a little bit about their character, like what their failed career was and such, which you recall, hopefully. I think I punched them in, but if not, you'll have to do it yourself. We're trying also a new virtual tabletop tonight. We're using Foundry VTT as there's now a unofficial Electric Bastionland module for that. So we're giving that a try tonight. It's pretty nice and slick so far. So before we get into introductions of characters, we again are Adventures in Lollygagging. So we play a bunch of different games on the internet. You can watch us play Vesson, a new game by Free League Games, on Monday nights at 9 Central. You can watch us play Zweihander on Thursdays on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG, also at 9 Central. And then usually every other week or so, we're playing either Electric Bastionland or we're playing Mutineer Zero here on Fridays or Saturdays. It's kind of a up in the air type of thing. Follow at Lollygagger Co. on Twitter to get like an official like, hey, we're playing this week. Other things we do, we have a couple podcasts. You can watch more. You can like listen to some Zweihander on Mondays when it drops. So anywhere you search for Adventures in Lollygagging, you can find our podcast. And yeah, and I got some other stuff planned. So we have some other games that we're going to be playing here soon. So why don't we do a quick go around? We'll start with Long, and then we'll work our way around. So who's your character? What's your failed career? And what's something you remember about the last the adventure to date? So Long, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm playing Simo, and I used to be front of the house or a host of a spa center. And then throughout this adventure, I think I've gotten like stabbed. My arm is broken because we owed all this money to these guys, and we just haven't paid it back.
Do you remember the name of the company that you owe your money to?
Yeah, it's something like Slugburn Pest Post or something.
Slugburn Pest Control. That's right. And you had like a bunch of guys came by and they really needed to break someone's arm, and
I was the unfortunate victim of that.
yeah, I think Miss Chuffwack volunteered, but they wanted
It was
you.
too late.
It was too late.
Yeah.
They just broke your arm. But yeah, Slugburn Pest Control, you all owe like 10,000 pounds to. So the way the game works is everyone gets a failed career, something that they weren't good enough at, so they failed, and now they're trying to seek treasure. And you were a front of the house host for a day spa. Perfect. I think you fell off like a roof or something too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was trying to climb down and then just took a quite fall, second story or something.
It happens. Melissa, same couple of questions.
Yeah, so I am playing Vilta Maxwell, their failed career is a master blender. So a machine took her job. So she is quite upset about that. She has a human union little patch with her as one of her starting items. I remember about Bastion that they're really serious about their petitions here. We were harassed by some warring petitioners on our way to the Meat and Cheese Consortium.
Right. So we have a whole, like the whole borough we're in is like the Painted Tongues borough, and one of the sections that's nearest to this factory is like the last think it's called like the Last Bend. It's like the last bend in the canal. It's really ugly and gross. And so there's these competing bureaucratic gang members that are trying to get people to sign beautification projects. And yeah, so they're former bureaucrats who have turned into like these, these gangs that are just going around roughhousing folks. Vilta, I think you, let's see, at some point you and Shuffwack went into a locker room to try to save Simo, and you got like one shot cold cocked and fell right on top of Simo and nearly died. I do
Yes,
recall
yes,
that.
that
Yeah.
is correct.
Okay. Justin's not in this one, so we'll just keep going. He looks like a piece of cheese right now, and we'll move over to Derek. So Derek, tell us about Douglas.
Yeah, so I'm Douglas. My failed career is a Dead-Shoresman. So it's, classic American mythology. You die and the debt still follows you. So that's why I had $10,000 of debt. I died and then I somehow came back. What I remember from last session was, as the person with the weakest stats, I discovered basically like 3 entire areas of the warehouse by myself. Rolled when I absolutely needed to and fooled a robot into murdering somebody who thought
Such a
that I wasn't who I.
clutch.
Yeah.
Such a clutch roll.
And then after that, I didn't have to roll too much. I just snuck around and sabotaged as much as I could and picked up some cheese curds and some spices.
Yeah, you like I think all of us at the end of like our episode 1 thought you were screwed because you're off by yourself.
Yeah.
All of them were screwed. You were fine. You were just like wandering around. At one point, it got a little dicey, or a couple
Oh,
other
yeah.
folks, but you managed to like
Yeah.
roll such a like your rolls are all single digits. Like your stats are all like
Mhm.
9 and 8
Bad.
and 7 stuff.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and Electric Bastion is a roll under game. So you roll saves and you have to roll D20 and you have to get underneath your score. And he actually did. And he managed to convince this executive butcher that he was supposed to be there. And because this other supervisor was wasting his time, that supervisor got dragged away by this butcher and presumably hacked to pieces. So it was great. Awesome. Yeah, I was pretty amazed at how well Douglas was doing. I was like, this guy.
I was flabbergasted. The stats were not in my favor, but hey, I'm taking it.
You crushed it, man. It's not just stats. There we go. Okay. Miss Chuffwack.
I'm Ashley. I play Miss Chuffwick. She is a I wrote it down. An unrevolutionary. Yeah. So basically, she cleans up after revolution. She's a glorified janitor, but she didn't do a very good job because she had her own smoke bombs and she added to the problems, presumably. I remember just being a lot in the last episode, just a crazy old woman. Like I went in, I tattletaled to this woman in charge about these 2 guys that were guarding both of their bodies to get them out of the room.
Yeah,
and
I think you went into like human resources and
yes.
you convinced another old woman that these 2 guys were trying to get like old people to retire or something like that. I think it was
yes,
age.
we were being discriminated against because we were old.
Right.
And then later when we were heading down, I was incorrectly sorting cheeses to just cause problems for people. It was great. I like being a crazy old woman.
You did a lot of sweeping last episode.
Yeah, you did.
I did. Just whichever room I went in, people left me alone. It was great.
Right. So, okay. So to wrap it all together then, and then we'll get started. Originally, the original gig was that you were working for the Cheese Mamas and the Tapas because they were a small mom and pop artisan cheese and meat company. And they were going at it. They were getting run out of business because there's this giant industrial complex that has grown up on the west side of the Painted Tongues borough, like out of nowhere. And they had suddenly started doing massive work and they had a much bigger factory and they were producing heavily. And they wanted you to go in and do some industrial sabotage. They wanted you to collect some recipes, grind up the works, whatever you could. And basically, the more you did, the more you get paid, right? So the more you can collect, the more you'll get paid. The more you can, the more lasting sabotage that you can impart upon the factory, the more you get paid. So those types of things would work. After a couple, like Melissa mentioned, you guys kind of got harassed here and there, and Simo, both of them mentioned like a couple of the harassments on their way. You all started to look around. You started at the top of the factory, the executive offices, but it was really peculiar because like there were all these executive offices, but no one was there, and it was like they almost seemed fake in a way, right? And you kept looking, and eventually you guys jumped a guy, and Douglas grabbed his suit So his like coverall suit, and so now that's one of the reasons Douglas has been able to maneuver around the factory so often. While the rest of them were looking around, they ran across the roof. Miss Chuffwick nearly fell. Simo fell. Then Simo got caught, and then it was all like the three of them were on their own separate mission to save Simo, while Douglas was exploring. And when he explored, he found some really peculiar things because the factory kept going lower and lower. Here's a subfloor, and here's another subfloor, and here's another subfloor. And the further down you went, the creepier it got. Like the first subfloor, okay, it's just a couple assembly lines that separated meats and cheeses into their various patterns. Then the next line was like, okay, we have labs for this strange cheese production and labs for meat production. Okay, not that crazy. Some of the meat stuff was weird. Then you went down again, and then suddenly you were finding things like metallic machinery, like machinery that was like shaped like animals, but had like half meat that were on them, and they were wandering around. You've had these huge machines with all these hooks and blades and cleavers and tenderizers that were wandering around these butchers that were chasing like half machine, half flesh cows and such, and goats and stuff all over the place. You've got these other machines that are carrying around these canisters and shooting cheese all over the place, and they would just stop and just squirt cheese into someone's face for testing. Eventually, I don't know how this happened, but all of you eventually met up with one another. You were around livestock for purposing. Went down a level. You bypassed, you didn't go into quality control, but you went down into what's called the livestock storage and disassembly floor. And it's where you all found like there were all sorts of stables with cows and goats and such that were there and were okay. And they would occasionally get pulled away, and you would hear like horrible sounds of animals being butchered in the distance. While you were down here, you did manage to meet up with one another, but you were also caught by a butcher and by a fromagère. And in that fight, Miss Chuffwick used the last of her plaster gun from a previous adventure to basically stun and keep in place one of those enemies. And then you all kind of ran. And you ran into a place you had not yet explored. And that's where we pick up. And I think Douglas is out of HP. Anybody else?
I'm unconscious.
Yeah. Anybody else out of HP?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
So the door closes behind you, and you can hear the sounds of sort of distant footsteps of like metal on concrete, and you can still hear the echoes of the cows that are mooing, the goats that are meh, and all sorts of different livestock that just happens to be being horribly slaughtered at various places around the floor. You would know, Douglas, that it sort of seems like they're taking like these exoskeletons, like these weird metallic skeletons, and like packing meat onto them, almost as if they're like creating their own new and improved animals. So they're taking like actual livestock, breaking those down, and then restitching that onto a bunch of weird metal skeletons. When you close the door, there is a very faint flickering of light, and all of a sudden, bang, 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 one after the other in a short span, these automatic lights, these halogen lights begin to flicker on. And you can see as you look around, you're in some kind of storage room. And whoever's the first one in comes face to face with this metallic goat head, this creepy, satanic-looking head that's just sort of there with these metallic horns sticking out of it, lifeless, empty eye sockets, and just staring at you, immobile. And it's like hanging from chains. And as you look around, you realize you are in a fairly large warehouse filled with nothing but the metallic skeletons of animals. You've got Douglas on the ground, unconscious, dragged in. It's just the three of you. There's very little light.
Can I tend to Douglas?
Yes, you can. Now, you're not completely out of the woods, so you did. The one thing that you managed to do is you guys defeated one, I think the fromagère, but then the butcher was only immobilized. You're not entirely sure how long that immobilization happens, like how long it lasts, like the plastering that you did. That's just an immobilization. It doesn't actually do damage, just makes it so they can't. So you don't know how long it's going to be. and plus you would know that there's other creatures.
Oh, they didn't finish him off.
No, you guys ran.
So what kind of door did we go through? So is it a door that I can kind of put a metal bar through the handles? Does it have glass windows?
We'll say it's two large kind of like metal doors with, like it can be opened and like a big like conveyor can be pushed in or out, like some kind of flatbed, as if it's bringing lots of things out at once.
So whatever makes the most sense. So if it's got handles on the inside, then I would want to run a barn through them. If it doesn't, then I just want to move something up against it so the doors can't be pushed in.
We'll do the first one. You'll find something as you're searching around, some sort of metal pipe, some pole that's leaned up in a corner somewhere that's not yet affixed to one of these creatures, and you're gonna slide it into the handles. Is that Matt? Hey Matt, how's it going? So yeah, as far as you know, the door is kind of barred. Chuffwack, you're tending to Douglas. Oh, Adam, sorry. Hey Adam. Grim and Paris Plays, I thought was Matt, but thanks for checking us out. We're playing some Electric Bastionland today. We're finishing up a weird story. I don't know what I was thinking when I was writing this. Okay. So what do you guys want to start
moving around the room, see if there's a way out of here as well?
Okay. You start searching around, and it's row after row after row of all sorts of different livestock mechanical creatures. So you've got things like chickens and goats and cattle, different kinds. Some of them are different shapes. So there's like big old oxen. There's smaller versions. There's like calves for veal or something like that. Everything. You're going up and down and looking, and you notice, as you're looking around, you notice a couple ways out. Oh yeah, I forgot we got to do like the whole capital names in our thing. There we go. As you're looking around, you notice a couple things. You notice a few vents, and then you also notice at the far end of this room, which is probably about 100 feet long, something like that, I would say. So at the far end, you notice in the ground, there's this huge, it's not like a trap door, but it looks like a kind of a load and unload type of thing. Like there's stuff that comes up. It's like almost like a lift. And you can see next to it, there's a little control button that likely opens up the floor, and then it kind of lowers down and it kind of comes back up. So it doesn't go up, it just goes down. There we go. That's more like it. All caps. So those are the only things you find in terms of ways out, or potential ways out.
Okay. So if we messed with these skeletons, how much would that put a kink potentially in their process?
Hard to say. There's hundreds of these things though. Like there's literally rows and rows and rows, and they're all kind of hanging or they're stacked up. Like the chickens are sort of stacked up. It's almost like you're going through like an Ace Hardware or a Home Depot or something, and you're seeing these different rows of stuff. But it would probably help, sure. When you start hammering away, if you take one aside, they're pretty sturdy. This is some pretty sturdy stuff. This is good solid steel. Some of the chicken stuff, the poultry stuff, seems a little bit easier to break down. But like some of the other, like the bigger chunks, like the bovines and whatnot, those seem a little heftier.
This is something where if you knock one over, a domino effect would happen.
I mean, a couple of them maybe, but it wouldn't create like the whole that's not gonna, but you could do a little sabotage here. It's the question of how long you want to expend. So at this point, go ahead.
Once we get Douglas moving, I think I'll just motion everyone over to this lift.
Okay, so if you're taking a time, if you're going to go ahead and rest, which is what's happening now, and you're tending to Douglas, all of you can go ahead and hit that rest button on your character sheets. It'll restore your HP automatically. Yeah. And you are once again conscious, Douglas, as Miss Chuffwick is hovering over top of you. She's got some cheese on one side of her face, some plaster on the other. And you also hear the sounds of like robotic voices on the other side of the door. Vilta, roll a luck check. So
it's a 2.
Okay. You, as you listen close, you can hear them talking, and as if they're trying to identify. Like I said, there's intruders. It sounds like something happened. Like one of the fromagères was kind of broken down. They're nearby. Fan out and look.
So it sounds like they're giving orders to people in the room or people on a radio. Like, am I hearing like radio
You're
responses?
hearing multiple like robotic voices, and then so like these. It's not. It doesn't sound like humanoid voices. It sounds like robotic voices. Assert, these like kind of weird hard cuts to some of their language. And moments later, you hear somebody try to push the doors open, and it does not open.
Because they're coming in the door that I blocked, right?
That's correct. And so they can't seem to get in.
Now that I'm conscious, are there any like ventilation shafts or like air vents that we could potentially climb into and hide in?
Yeah, Simo found a couple vents, and Simo found a elevator or a lift that seems to go down but not up.
Gotcha. I must have missed the vents. I heard the elevator shaft down. I would say our best bet is to climb on some corpses and get in the vents and try and get out that way.
I'm
you're
down to
thinking
try
of getting
that.
out of here.
Okay.
Yep, works for Vilta.
Okay.
Is there any way, like, these are skeletons, these are not things that we can like kind of armor up with? I just want to make sure that I'm not like, can I like get inside one of these things and
no, you can't get inside any of them. It's like they're literally
Okay.
skeletons.
Oh, it's not a
Okay.
mech we can control from the inside.
No.
I
sorry.
know. Like we
It's
can
not-
use this to our
It's
advantage.
not one of those. Though that would have been cool. I didn't think of it. Sorry. They don't seem to be powered. None of them seem to be powered. Like they all have kind of like empty eye sockets. Like there's nothing running them. The one that Douglas saw was powered, but this one is not.
Is there anything that we could damage in this room that might like do bad things to these?
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for the sub. Yeah, you can start smashing stuff, but it's a question of like this. They're trying to get in, so you have to consider. It's been a couple minutes. You've done your CPR and you've got on Douglas and you've given him a fruit
Right.
juice to try to catch back up and everything.
To the vents then.
It's just a question of what you want. Yeah. Okay. So if you're gonna go
I'm
ahead,
gonna.
go ahead.
So just in case I don't make it, I hand the carton of mystery spices and the container of cheese curds to actually probably Viltra. You probably have the best chances of like climbing out of here and just say like, this is what I was able to find. In terms of like potential boons to the mom and pop shop in case I don't make it. I also, are there any corpses that I could plug the battery in that I found from the cow? And
Yeah.
like I could be the last into the vents and put a battery in so that animal and like scare the animal or something so that it causes a distraction to give us more time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead. So
I'll look for like the biggest one that the battery would fit in.
you find a big old oxen like this or a big old bull, something like that. It looks huge. It's bigger than you. Again, these things don't have any meat on them. They're just skeletons, basically metal skeletons. And you take a moment, you look at the connections, you yank this from, you kind of had a moment to see how it worked before because you yank this out of a living one and you plug it in.
Oh, so I'm going to wait until everyone's up in the vents and then I'll plug it in and then I'll dash up the vents last. But I don't know if we need to roll first.
So no, you can just go ahead and plug it in. I'm not going to that's easy enough to do.
Okay.
I will have everyone, as you're climbing up into the vents, the door is going to blow open and you're going to see a handful of these like butchers and fromagères kind of coming in, looking around. I'll have everyone roll dex saves though, as you climb up and try to hide away. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Got it.
Okay.
Failed.
Okay. All right. So as you all climb up, Miss Chuffwack and Simo, you manage to fairly seamlessly get open this vent and kind of climb in. And you crawl for a little bit. But eventually, like there's like a very precipitous drop, like a vertical drop, and then the vertical it kind of goes up a ways too, but it's completely and utterly up and down. So you just kind of stay there for a moment as you hear the echoing of stuff, behind you in the other room. Vilta and Douglas, since the two of you were kind of trading off some items, you find a nearby vent to climb up. Yours is a little bit harder to come up, and you start, as you're climbing up, you kick a you accidentally kick like a hanging chicken, and that chicken slams into another chicken, and then a couple things, and so there's all sorts of noise that suddenly starts happening. But you climb up and you hide as best you can, and moments later you can hear the sounds of like this mechanized bull just starting to bray like all over the place, and the sound of smashing of metal on metal. If you peek out the vent as best you can see that's like just sort of thrashing and confused. It's like it just was woken up into existence and has no idea with the context for this. So stuff's falling over, etc., etc. You hear the butchers and stuff come in, and you can see like they're trying to calm it down, but it doesn't seem to work. But eventually you start hearing like smashings of things as if like they're attacking it, and after a little while like there's a quieted down, and the poor bull is likely been destroyed. So you can tell that like they're communicating, like they're confused, they're trying to figure out like why this is happening. And they say, once again, they're like, fan out, explore all the aisles, like check everything. So what do you all want to do while this is happening? And I would say Vilta and Douglas, there's one specific butcher that's right beneath your vent that is very interested in the fact that there are these swinging chickens just right up near where the vent is that you crawled in, and they're kind of looking at it and examining it as if they're doing the calculation in their head. You don't have much time, so what do you want to do?
I mean, I'm just trying to get out of there, so
Yeah.
I will continue to get out.
You run as best, like you crawl as best you can. These are not these giant vents, right? This isn't like the Starship Enterprise. Like you can't just walk, you stand everywhere. Like you have to literally crawl, and it's tight. And eventually you get to a vertical shaft. It goes up and it goes down, and you have to make a choice, up or down.
Well, every time we go down, things get worse, so I vote going up.
Okay.
I think up is out.
All right. Strength saves, because it's not. There's no ladder. Okay. All right. Okay.
Just passed.
So Vilta, you start kind of climbing up. You do like the Spider-Man thing, put like one foot to the right, one foot to the, and you start.
Can I go under him to like help like push him? Because I know he's not
Sure.
like, very.
So you do
strong.
that. You do that, and you can see that he's moving for a couple feet, and then since you're underneath him, ready to catch him, he's gonna go ahead and like just slip and fall, smash into you, and the two of you just go tumbling down into darkness below. Simo and Chefwack, what are you two doing? Again, you're in a different vent shaft.
We'll just proceed as far as we can.
Okay, do you want to go up or down?
I'm just gonna slide down.
You're going down?
Yeah.
Okay. Chefwack?
Yeah, I'll follow.
You want to go down? If they would have kept climbing upwards, would you have gone up? Metagamers.
No, my original
Frickin'
choice was
metagamers.
down already.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
Yeah. Long wants that recipe.
Okay. So Vilta and Douglas, you two slam into that. Since you're going down, Simo and Chefwack, I won't require a strength save, as you're able to sort of ease and go down one by the other. But Douglas and Vilta, you make a far quicker path down, and you find yourself slamming into the floor beneath you. And each of you will go ahead and we'll say you're going to take a couple points of damage. I'll have to do an actual damage roll here. Roll 1d6. Each of you can take 1 point. Did that go through? 1 point of damage? Yeah, take 1 point of damage. I don't know why it's calling me Douglas, but whatever. Take 1 point of damage as you fall. And when you look around, you have fallen through a vent that slams down, and you are on top of open up. There we go. Okay, you are in some kind of like cubicle area. Like you slam down into the middle of like a hall, but as you look around, there's like all these like cubicles every which way. You'll hear the sounds of like typing and like tabulation, like someone's like pushing buttons on like a calculator on a typewriter. You hear the sounds of like dot matrix printers, like and like in all sorts of different directions. But you slam right down into the middle of a cubicle, and like right on the outside of a cubicle, and you can see that this machine suddenly turns around and looks at you, and it seems puzzled and strange. It looks somewhat humanoid, and it's got like a little suit and tie on and everything, and it's got like a little bow tie that's clinging to like its chrome neck and its chrome collarbone. It's got these really big glasses, like these glassy eyes, and it has all these different like typewriters and calculators around it, and it's going through like stacks of papers. But it looks at you, and it seems concerned, and it says, "Please state your purpose here."
And without skipping a beat, Douglas is going to tell the machine, "Oh, ventilation maintenance. We took a wrong turn. Sorry to drop in unexpectedly."
Calculating.
Nice roll.
And then with the roll, understood. Please do not interrupt data analysis. And it'll spin back around, and you can see that it has no legs. Like the bottom of it is just like the bottom of a desk chair, like a little swirly desk chair, and it just sort of spins back, and it's beginning to, like, with all sorts of these arms just go ahead and like kind of clicking and tabulating. You can see there's there's like, when you look around, there's a bunch of these.
So I'm hoping I'm not pushing my luck, but I can't believe I made that roll.
Do it anyway.
I asked the machine, I'm like, I came from the main assembly floor. What's the fastest way to get back up there?
Main assembly, and they okay, so they'll point to two different places. They'll tell you that you can take the lift in veterinarian services or take the stairs into quality control. Please stop interrupting data analysis. Imminent. And it's like turning around, like. So they give you two ways up. There's stairs and there's a lift.
I just look at Viltra and shrug, like, I don't know which to pick.
So one was quality control and the other was
the lift, so that could go all the way up theoretically.
There was a lift in veterinarian services, and there were some kind of stairs or something like that, and that goes up to quality control.
We fled quality control.
we haven't been in quality control yet.
You haven't been in quality control.
We skipped that. We were in livestock storage and disassembly.
Mm-hmm.
Quality control.
I'm down to try it.
Okay. So let's shift over to Chuffwack and Simo, who were in a different vent in a different part of the room, and they go climbing downward. And then when you get down a bit, you can notice that it doesn't just empty out into a room. It actually makes a horizontal turn and starts moving off in one singular direction. Since there's nowhere else to go, you continue to follow. The vent itself branches out to a couple different ways. Like there's one to the right, there's one to the left, and you can see up ahead another 20 feet or so. There's another one to the right and another one to the left. So you can kind of pick, when do you want to turn off?
Are there any noises coming from any of them?
Yeah, you can hear the sounds of animals braying and mooing, like, and you can hear that's a moo.
Is that from like all of them or just a couple?
From the nearest ones, you don't really hear much. When you get to the second set of turnoffs, you can hear animals. Yeah.
I don't know if we want to go to the animals or not. So.
I mean, why not?
I mean, I kind of want to avoid them because I don't think they're like anything related to the recipe, right?
No, but that is something else. Well, yeah, you're right. If we're looking for the recipe, unless we want to sabotage.
I think we've done plenty of that. We're just trying to get secrets.
I mean, Douglas did plenty of that.
We.
The royal we.
I put smelly fish paste in one jar of cheese melting stuff, and then insanely hot spice in another one. I can't wait to see how that pans out.
So
I wonder if we feed those animals your bath salts, if it will have like the same results as Florida Man.
You bath salts?
Yeah.
Did I give him bath salts?
yeah, I bought some before
Yeah.
we came here.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's right. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yes.
Totally forgot about that. Okay, so what do you two want to do?
We'll turn off to some vents that don't have animal noises.
Okay.
Okay.
So you head off to some vents that don't have any animal noises, and you can see that eventually, when you turn left, it comes to a dead end in the vent, and there is a grate that goes down, and you can see that there are what almost look like sort of surgical tables. Maybe you're not really sure. There's a small sleeping goat that seems to be on it, just kind of sleeping away. You vaguely hear the sound of like the shuffling of something, and as you wait, you can see that a white lab coat covered robot has kind of wheeled itself over and is administering a variety of like tests to this creature. Like they're injecting it. Like there's this huge syringe, and they just put the plunger down, and then you see as the goat's like flanks just suddenly within the next like minute and a half just start to get a little bigger and chunkier.
I think you guys found the veterinary wing.
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I think I'll wait a moment to see if it's only him or how long he takes. If he leaves
Okay.
at all.
You only see the one. You don't really have a great view of the whole room, obviously, but like you mean you can wait a bit until you don't hear anything, sure. But it does seem to administer a few things and then like wander away, at least out of view.
Is it right below us, or is it kind of like off? Center?
There's right below you is the goat on like that is now growing like extra muscular stuff. It was right below you.
Okay. Either we drop down when he's below us, or we wait till he's away. What do you think?
I would wait till he's away.
The robot is away.
Lead the way.
We'll try to go through this gate.
Okay. So you pop down and you drop as best you can. Why don't you go ahead and roll a dex saves to see how quietly and how like acrobatically you're able to do this.
Very.
Okay. The two of you very quietly, like you're covered in cardboard boxes, just manage to open up the vent. You grab it before it falls, and then you just drop like right down behind the goat. You like maybe lower 1 foot and step on the table, and then you drop down. And when you look around, you are in some kind of doctor's office. You can see all around you are a variety of really peculiar devices and machines, some of which you might be familiar with if you've ever been to a doctor. You can see there's walls with these glass cases with all sorts of colorful canisters of liquids. There's it looks like a medical cabinet. There's these huge syringes here and there, and you can see that you get your back to a wall where there's a variety of like paper products and like cotton swabs and such, and like some kind of little basin for a sink. But on the other side, you're like both crouched down behind the table where the goat is, and you're looking up over the slowly growing goat. And you can see that outside of the door, on the other side of the room, there seems to be two robots that are arguing. And they're both like gesticulating wildly with like four. Each of them have 4 arms, and they're both wildly gesticulating. Some of those arms end in like syringes themselves, and so it's kind of weird just watching them fly over the place. You see squirts of like green and blue and orange liquid just flying all over the place, but they seem to be arguing over something. What would you like to do?
Is there a syringe nearby?
Oh yeah.
Like, can I snatch a couple and unfortunately squirt them into this poor goat?
Okay. You want to like jam them in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to like mess up their test.
Okay. So roll a luck check. Is it a 1?
Yes.
Okay. So you move over to and you grab a syringe, like kind of reach up, feel around for it, and pull it down, and then you go over and you jam it, like this. This thing's as big as your forearm, right into the ass
Oh
of this
God.
goat, and just like with a little bit of heft, and this juicy stuff goes inside the flank. What you didn't notice is that up where you were messing around, there are all sorts of these different canisters. One of them just started to roll and roll and roll, and then as you're doing it, rolls off the edge, crashes on the ground, which alerts the two that are out there. One of them comes hustling back inside and kind of looks on the ground and sees this big puddle of kind of orange something or other. The two of you are still hidden behind the goat currently, the goat table.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't noticed you yet, but this doctor robot seems on high alert.
Oh no.
So think about that. I'll come back. We'll jump over to Douglas and Vilta. So Douglas and Vilta, you are still in this this cubicle area. You said you wanted to go to quality controls. I think that's what you said. You start moving through the alleyway, like little hallways between these cubicles, and it's got this like weirdly this absolutely strange like feel to it. Like it's almost like a humanoid setting. Like you see a water cooler and like there's a handful of these robots with like the bottom part is like a desk chair, and they're just kind of hovering around the water cooler. When you pass by them, you can hear that they're just talking about odds and ends, and they're like, did you see that competitive sports game? Oh yes, I saw it. The home team was much better than the away team. I too think that the home team was better than the away team. I have heard that there was an entertainment puppet show this evening. Are you going to watch it with the Mrs. Robot? And so they're all kind of walking through and going through their things. They see you,
Nice.
but you just repeat the same thing, like, oh, just going through it. And it seems to work. You notice that there's a handful of other offices around the area, like as you're looking for exits. You notice that there are offices for it's basically a bunch of analysis offices and assessment offices. You see sales data, you see analysis for critical reviews, you see recipe storage, you see idea gestation, and so you see all these different like offices around, and most of them have either the door itself is like a window, and then like it's got blackened lettering with like a little bit of an like golden embossment around it outlined, and you can see that there are robots inside that are going through tabulations, analyzing data. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna look. So as we're passing these offices and I see the recipe room, I'm just gonna like stop and then look at Viltra and just roll my eyes and like dramatically point at the sign, like, well, we found it.
Yes. Clearly, this is the door we're going through.
Okay.
The question is, do we want to push our luck and go in there, or do we want to leave and just call it as good as we can? Then are there robots in the recipe room?
Yeah, everywhere. There's dozens and dozens of them all over the place, and the rooms themselves seem to be occupied. Yeah, the offices.
I hand Viltra that like executive key card that I picked up, and I think it was the cheese production room
Mm-hmm.
when I was swapping all the labels around. And I just say, like, this card has executive level access. Like, if you want to go in there and try and smooth talk them, best of luck.
Hmm. How could we So,
We could always say we're from like and you could always, because I'm in the coveralls, so I look like a maintenance worker, but you are just, what are you wearing? Like just t-shirt and jeans?
yeah, I mean, nothing.
What is the
No,
thing that
you're
like
wearing a
Nothing-
gray uniform.
Did we all pick up uniforms from the
oh,
locker
that's
room?
right. Okay. Well, okay. So like it's a generic gray uniform. So what is the thing that like in like hospitals where like a third party comes in and does like an audit? You could just say you're an auditor from a third party company and just be like, we're auditing your recipes.
Could do that. I'm trying to pull back because remember I got that little like clown thingy as like a distraction. Like I'm wondering if I could like
Oh.
go in there and. Which day of the week is it, by the way?
Wednesday.
Okay. I'm wondering if I can do. I'm gonna try to go like a little mini distraction, like a combo. Like it'll definitely be charisma as like some kind of like a distraction. And maybe like a gifting kind of a thing. I think we're gonna go in and see.
I have no idea what you're saying right now.
I'm trying to work things together in my head.
Okay.
Yeah, I say like if anybody questions you, you could just say like I think maybe an auditor would be like the best thing. Like, I work for X company, you hired us to audit you, stand aside, or maybe not that aggressive, but
That I think what Melissa was getting at is that she's from HR and this is for employee morale. And she's here to see how everybody's feeling about working here.
And, like-
that could work.
Kind of as a distraction, and then you might be able to try to like look around while I'm doing that.
So as you all are just kind of like lingering in the middle of the hallways, staring at the recipe storage and recipe an idea gestation office, you're just kind of staring and looking and talking, like planning it out. Vilta, go ahead and roll a luck test as you're hesitating. Okay.
Passed.
So you as you guys are standing there, you can see suddenly the lights in here change color. They were just like kind of your basic white light, no big deal. But suddenly you hear like this little horn go off, and then all of these orange lights start to flip around a bit. And there's like these. It's just basically almost like a warning light. It's like yellow alert on the Star Trek Enterprise. Oh, thank you, Escadon. That's it's nice to hear that. Hope you're enjoying it. So yeah, like there's this, it's like an alarm's going off, and all of the different robots around are just suddenly like alert, and like you can see all of them begin to say intruder present, intruders present, as if they have been alerted. What would the two of you like to do? No one's immediately coming towards you just yet, but it definitely seems like things are getting dangerous. One of the things you do in Electric Bastionland is like you roll luck tests, and like if you linger too long in one place, or if you take a rest, that you roll luck tests and you see what happens.
What's the best kind of
Encounter test.
luck? Is it 6 or 1?
6, 4, 5, and 6.
Got it.
Well, I guess the luck spoke, so I guess we gotta leave.
One is terrible. 2 to 3 is like, oh, this isn't so good, and then 4 to 6 is usually fine. So, okay, so you can go. I mean, no one's coming immediately at you, but it definitely seems like everyone's suddenly on alert. Like they're looking. Everyone's kind of looking around. Like you see people's heads popping up out of the cubicle. Did Frank 02XY782, did you hear the rumor there are intruders on present? And then you see someone else's head pop up. Yes, Charlie 182753, I heard too that there were intruders present. And they're kind of like going back and forth a bit. Other people are doing the same thing. Someone pops their head out of the door and looks around. Get back to work, you fools! And then closes the door and goes back inside. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, I don't have anything on me that would be like a smoke bomb or anything to like destroy the room. So
I don't think
I'm
so.
fine with leaving. I mean, we technically are dressed like people who work here, so they wouldn't be immediately suspicious of us. But I'm also fine with leaving. I'll do either.
I'll point out though, I would probably point out that you haven't really seen anyone in your getup, any humanoids in the livestock storage and disassembly level or this level. You haven't seen a single. It's just been pure robots here, and in animals, and then pure robots and animals like the floor above. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe we should leave.
You do whatever
The
you
recipe
want.
room was just there to
It's there.
to make us distracted.
It's right there. Go get it.
Could I? Oh, I have an idea.
Okay.
The cattle prod that I have, it
Mhm.
uses electricity.
It does.
Could I sabotage it in some way and just yeet it into the room with all the files of recipes and just burn that bitch down?
Yeah. Hell yeah, you could.
All right. I just get a wild look in my eye and look at Viltra, and I'm like, I'm gonna do something crazy, and we have to run really fast.
Okay. And Vilta is all for anything that like is anti-machine, so she is very much all for it.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm gonna just sabotage this cattle prod and look for a nice stack of paper. Look for something flammable. I'm just gonna sabotage, throw, sprint.
This
Like,
is in the
as quick as I
recipe and idea gestation office, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So open the door. You just mess around with it. You just like smash it here and there. You start seeing like it starts to smoke a bit and little flames come up from it. And you just chuck it into the room really fast. Lands on, and it goes where you want it to go. But I want the two of you to roll dex saves as you try to escape notice and find somewhere to hide. So dex saves.
Oh my god.
Awesome roll.
Derek, you are the most clutch person ever. Like this is insane.
Oh my God.
And Vita with the 2.
2.
You two manage to chuck this in, and then you immediately run away. And as you're running, and they're freaking out, you notice an empty cubicle, and you just like dive right into the empty cubicle. There's no one here. Like nothing's really set up. Just get underneath the desk, and you sort of just wait around. You hear all sorts of crazy sounds. The orange light turns red, and people are freaking out. You smell smoke, but yeah, and we'll come back to you in shortly. So Chef Whack, Simo. You're in a room. As you're sitting here, hiding behind the platform where the goat is slowly growing more muscles and fat, there's this other doctor who's inside and is now like perplexedly looking at this thing, calls out, and I would say like maybe Simo, you can look and you can see these tiny little robot, like these little like Roombas come in and start cleaning up like all of the spilled liquid on the ground. What do you two want to do? And then eventually they leave.
Is there anything besides this table in the room where we can like get behind?
This is like the only thing in the center. Everything else is like cabinets along the outsides. There's really nothing else you can hide in. And to be fair, like they haven't zoomed around.
Is there any? How many exits in this place?
There's just the one.
Just the one.
Yeah.
We'll try to time it where when he walks around the table, we're like out of his view.
Okay.
The entire time.
Okay. So you're two. Okay. This is gonna be like a little like Benny Hill comical
Yeah.
routine.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of you roll dex saves as to try to time this properly.
No.
You two suck by comparison to Douglas and Filta.
Oh,
Douglas and
no.
Filta are like crazy Navy SEALs going on here. You two are like clowns. As you slowly move around, you like grab, like you're kind of balancing yourself with the top of the table where the goat is, and then you just happen to grab the leg of the goat, who goes "Meh," and just kicks one of you, and he goes falling back against the wall, like knocking stuff around. And this doctor whips their head around and sees you and says, "Intruders!" and will come at you with its many arms, including syringes that it's trying to inject into you. Okay, and I think we'll roll those dex saves over, and we'll get an attack on the two of you.
Oh God.
Let's see who I want to attack. 1 to 3, I'll make it Chef Whack, and then 4 to 6, I'll make it Simo. It's a 2, so it's going to go after Chef Whack. All right.
It's got anti-aging serum in the
there are
needles.
I like being old.
I have different things in it actually, so it'll be funny if this actually goes through.
A young Miss Chuffwack exits the building.
Oh boy.
I still smell or sound like I smoked like 50 packs.
We're-
Hello.
Okay. So it's going to come up to you and it's going to attempt to, with one of its arms, it'll just kind of smash down with one of the just regular looking, almost like a pipe, and it's just going to try to smash on you. If I can get the right thing. Okay. And so it'll do 1 point of damage. And then we will go to the top of the round. And we'll say the two of you can go together if you both want to kind of attack back.
Yeah, see if we can take them out real quick.
And
since
remember,
it's-
yeah, and remember how this works. So there's no to hit rolls. You automatically hit. You just both roll the damage at the same time, and we take the higher die. Like whatever the better result is how much damage you do to it. Okay.
Boom.
So Simo, you're trying to cut away at some of the wires and such that you see connecting the different parts of it, whereas Miss Shuffwhack, you're just whacking away at it with a crowbar. Okay. That'll do 4 damage. It is still, however, up. It will then return fire at Shuffwhack. And it will, and it's going to say pipe, but don't worry about that. I'm going to attempt to inject, actually, I am going to inject you. Like one of its arms is going to come down and just inject you with some sort of
Gross.
serum. Yeah. Roll a d6 for me.
How do I roll just like a D6?
Just
and-
/ roll 1d6.
Six.
Okay. So you feel yourself getting really, really, really sleepy, really exhausted. You look over at Simo.
Oh, no.
And you just kind of collapse a bit. You get one more round before you will likely fall unconscious. So the two of you, what do you want to do? You want to keep swinging back? Anything else? There's
yeah, I'll see if we have to take it out.
Okay. Chufak, you have one last moment before you're going to fall unconscious here. I cannot believe you guys rolled a 1 and a 2 on your decks when you guys, that's amazing. And you
Can I
Ugh.
barricade the
rolls.
door?
Sure, if you want to do that instead of attacking, yes, you can.
Mhm.
Okay. So did you already roll your damage?
No.
Okay, so then you will move away and try to, so knocking stuff over as your legs are getting numb, your lip is getting numb, everything's just sort of getting numb. And you close the door and you just kind of slouch against it with your body and you're barricading it with your now limp and unconscious body. Simo with a 6,
Oh yeah.
Nice.
you just like slam the knife like right inside somewhere where it's not quite able to swipe away with one of its many arms. Okay. And that's enough to go into strength damage, to go into the strength for him. So that's down to 10. I got to roll a strength save to see if it's critically injured. And whatever you attacked, whatever kind of power source in the middle, it just begins to go, and you see the eye, like the colored eyes just begin to power down, and it just seems to go limp standing in front of you. You still hear a humming, like it's not like it's dead, it's just powered down, and it likely will repower at some point. It's just a question of how long. You see Chuffwick slumped against the door, and she is drooling now from her mouth, and she's got these sleeping away.
Can you open the other jars and dump them on its body?
You want to dump it on the machine's body? The machine has no
Yeah.
flesh, so I would say you probably wouldn't know that.
I want to see if it could like short circuit him,
Oh, he already is short circuited. That's what I was saying. That's what
but
the
like
knife-
prevent him from rebooting at all, like with so much like liquid damage.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like pouring soda on your CPU.
Yeah. Coke on your
Mhm.
modem. Yep. If Justin was here, he would love that joke. Oh boy.
All right, I'm gonna slap Miss Chuffwick around. It's not a time to be sleeping.
Okay. You slap her around a bit, and she's really groggy. She's coming awake, and then she goes back and awake. And as she's awake, one of these times, she manages to blurt out that idea, like, drop the liquids. And what do you want to do?
I'll interpret that as dropping the liquids.
Okay, so you'll just start going through. Do you want to like drop them all, or do you want to keep any of these?
Do like one or two,
Ooh,
maybe keep some
yeah.
jars.
Okay.
Are they labeled? That's what she come labels.
They are labeled, but they are not labeled with anything that's discernible to humanity. They have their own coding process.
Chemical composition, sulfur hexafluoride.
Exactly. Yeah, it's super technical. It's like when you look at the ingredients in your toothpaste and you're like, I thought it was just toothpaste, but no, it's not. It's a chemistry book. So you can grab some, for sure. Roll a d6, and that'll determine what you get, and then I'll have you roll like another d6 another dice to see. Okay, so you're gonna get those. Okay, all right. You're gonna take roll one more d6. Sorry, this is for quantity now. Okay, you
6.
grab 5 large syringes that you shuffle into whatever pack you have, clinking away, and you can put down experimental cocktail. Just 5 experimental cocktails.
You rolled 3 6s on d6s
I'm
in
sorry,
a row.
6. I thought that was a 5. 6 experimental cocktails.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Eventually you're able to kind of get her sort of awake, but she's still super drowsy and super sluggish. You got to like kind of get your arm underneath her to get her moving. When you peek outside the door, you can see that there is a fairly long room, and on either side you see all sorts of cages filled with animals, and you can see that there are other folks just like this robot that you just attacked that are moving up and are kind of experimenting. Some of them are carrying like even bigger syringes, and they're just going. You see someone else is sort of hosing them off as well. This looks to be like a veterinary services area.
Oh yeah, we'll try to avoid all this and just get out of here.
Okay, so I'm pinging on the map whereabouts you all are. The two of you are. When you get out, if you sneak out, which you can, it's a big enough room. You can probably hide from place to place. You can notice that there are two exits that you can tell. And one of them seems to head to like data analysis, and one of them seems to head to it describes a lift of some kind. It's like it describes what's it called? Oh, sorry, intake. You also notice as you're sneaking around, doing your best to hide behind cages and avoid the view of these robots, you notice there actually is a lift in this room with a little button, and you can see up in the ceiling there's like a rectangular or square cutout. You would have guessed that this lift here likely goes up to the next floor above you, possibly the storage room where you found all those metallic skeletons of those fake creatures. But it also seems to describe intake, and there's a room that'll take you to intake, a little hallway, and then there's a hallway that seems to take you to some kind of like data analysis.
Were you feeling long? I'm a drugged up old lady.
Yeah, I would say Simo, it's up on you right now. This Chuffwack is still.
You were very efficient with your wake. You were like, pour liquid, don't waste, save some.
And then occasionally she's like, geez.
She gets inspiration from her dreams. All right, Simo, which way are you going?
I'll see if taking a lift up works.
Okay. That'll require a roll if you want to try to go up to the floor you just came from. because that's more like in the center of the room. The hallways seem to be easier to get to. Like you can probably get to those without a roll. So if you're going for that central
okay.
lift, I'm going to ask a dex save from you and from Chuffwick.
No, I want to do let's avoid any
Okay.
open areas.
Okay. So yeah, then you have a choice: intake or data analysis.
What does intake mean?
You don't. I don't. I mean, I do know.
Oh, yes.
Intake sounds like it's close to the outside.
So intake has it
But
generally
int has
means
the word in it.
it brings stuff in.
But you come from the outside
stuff.
to intake.
Yeah.
All right, let's go that way.
Okay, so you're going towards intake. Perfect. Okay, so the two of you shuffle off as best you can, hiding behind the animals. Occasionally, an animal will look at you with a very kind of sad look, like, why don't you just go past, not saving you?
Just leave all the animals in the cages?
In the arms of an angel's
Yeah,
playing
exactly.
as it looks at you sadly.
Sarah McLachlan just comes in full force. And then we're going to shift over to office space where Douglas and Vilta are hiding.
Yeah, I'm Dwight. I just set fire to the office.
You peek out. No one's noticed you. You are very well hidden. But it looks like a fire has broken out. What do you two want to do?
Get to the staircase and run to the hills, so to speak.
Okay, so you just want to run and leave.
Does that sound good to you, Viltra?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if we can't get the recipe, no one can have it. That's basically the decision I made.
Yep.
I mean, sabotage is good too. There's getting stuff will get you money, but sabotaging will also get you money. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a perfect score. Like you guys are doing really well.
I'm ready to get out. I feel like I've pushed my luck perfectly, and now is the time to jet.
And by you guys, I mean Douglas is doing just a phenomenal job, because literally every single thing has been Douglas. Even the cattle prod was Douglas. Like, this is insane, Derek. Like, and you have the worst stats, and you're just like a pro.
I know. I think my favorite is falling out of the stupid vent and just shooting a quick joke.
That's so good.
Okay, so you find a door as best you can. And you're kind of running off. You're slinking. You're keeping low. I'm not going to make you re-roll your stealths. And you manage to get into a hallway that takes you to. You can see a door, this sort of fancy door, and to the next of it, to the left of it, there is a little keypad, and it's Executive Suites.
Which, if we get to Executive Suites, we can get outside from there.
You can completely bypass this and hang a right and go further down a hallway here. But like, there is this little door that says Executive Suites, and you do have an executive key card.
And we can exit the building that way, right? Because that's how we came in.
What do you mean?
This might be a separate set of executive offices.
Oh,
you're underground at this point. You know that the previous executive suites were like the top floor of the factory. Hey, Marvelous Nate. Thanks for joining us. We are really, really deep below the creepiest meat and cheese factory probably we've ever created. I don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, we're having fun. So yeah, you have an option.
So which way do you want to go?
You can go inside here. You have a key card, and you know that this key card would probably work if you wanted to.
I'm kind of tempted for that, even though there's the intruder thing going off and there's no humans. Like, I feel like somehow the key card gives us enough.
We have a key card.
Yeah, we have a key card. Right, yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
So you press the key card against the little, and you hear a zzz, and you know that the doors are now open. So if you wanted to, you can open the doors.
I go in the room.
You go in the room, and it is and then like you just immediately you get the smell of just beautiful lacquered like mahogany, and you see that there's this large open room with a beautiful like well lacquered conference table with these cushy chairs all around it. No one's sitting in them. You can see off to the left there's this very ornate wet bar with all sorts of crystal decanters and bottles and such. And you can see that there's a handful of very big offices. There's no windows into the doors and such like that, anything like that. But you see these ornate looking name placards that are next to the doors, and in between each of these doors on every one of the walls, you can see there's all sorts of like painted pictures that are showing like the previous executives. And when you look at them, it's just like other robots that are dressed in like tweed suits and such with like hats on, and some of them are like holding up little like baby robots and such, like, and they're like referring to like the folks in the past, as it just seems like the hierarchy of how long ago this company has been in existence. But you all know that the Meat and Cheese Consortium is like relatively new, so this doesn't really make any sense. When you move around, you notice there are three main offices that are each connected to this big conference room table. One of them is the Chief Analytics Officer, so CAO. One of them is the Butchery Lead, so BUL. And then one of them is the Caloric Assessor and Lead Fromagère, so CALF. And then there's that wet bar over to the side.
And I think the fromagère is the badge that we had, right?
That is correct.
Okay. There's no executive lift that goes to the surface?
No, you don't. This is like you came inside, and there's no other way out. Like, this is like the only way in and out that you can tell, unless in their individual offices they happen to have something. But it's just like a big, beautiful conference room, and then like connected to each of them in 3 different places are these beautiful doors, and everything it's amazing in here. It smells wonderful. So,
Do we hear anything?
I mean, most of the sounds you hear are coming from the hallway outside, which is the sounds of like the red alert going off.
Okay. I want to make sure I don't hear like somebody on the phone or any like signs of activity inside.
Hello, Karen. I am just on my lunch break.
I'll point to the fromagère's office and I'm like, well, we have his key, so this is probably the safest room to go into and see if there's a way out.
Okay. So
follow you.
Okay. So the 2 of you, you go up to it, and there's another key punch, and you do the same thing, and so it seems to actually no, there actually isn't one. I'm sorry, there isn't even a key punch thing. There's only one to get into the suites. The doors themselves are just normal doors. So you open the door, you swing it open, and you see an elaborate and beautiful office. You have carpeted floors. You have these glossy, like leather-bound, like leather-backed chairs. You see this huge and ornate writing desk with all sorts of intricate carving. You see a fireplace not currently being in use to the right. You see a small little wet bar area to the left within its own office, despite the fact there is a bigger wet bar in the conference room area. And you see like there's a very even bigger chair behind and up on the wall. You can see a painting and a portrait of some kind of robot that's dressed in beautiful clothing. And then sitting in that chair underneath it, you see that exact same robot who looks up at you and says, "What is the meaning of this? I am very busy." Seems to be a little bit confused at kind of looking at you all. And looks at you. It's like it's calculating, like it's like doing that whole like Battlestar Galactica thing where one line like goes off to the side. You guys have a moment to do something if you want. What do you want to do?
I was thinking about going more in the direction of we're doing a sweep to make sure that everything is okay. There's red alert for intruders, making sure everything's good here. Doesn't look like there's anyone in here that doesn't belong, so seems good. We can be on our way.
And you hear, "Halt, fleshlings! No fleshlings approved in executive branch." And you see it begin to start weaving its way out from behind the desk. And when you notice, it literally is like the large high back leather chair is part of the robot.
It is.
And so it's coming around, and it's coming right at you. Roll dex
Sledgehammer
saves.
to the wheels.
Roll dex saves to see if you 2 can go before it.
No. I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you roll real bad.
Okay, so it will get to go first. No, it doesn't have to. You 2 need to do it. So like you're in its office, so you're in the biggest danger. So it's gonna come speeding around, and you can see that one of its arms is like this big, like massive stamp, like with like chrome and ink on it, and another one seems to be some kind of long pointing, almost like a finger, like itself is just like, it's like the finger that hits the keys, and it just comes storming in at you. And I'll do 1 to 3, it'll be Douglas, and 4 to 6, it'll be Vilta. So as the target, it's 6. So I said Vilta. So Vilta, it's going to go ahead and this large rubber stamp is just going to smash down on you, or chrome stamp. 5 points of damage.
Okay, so that zeroes out my HP and moves me down 1 on my strength.
Okay, so then you have to roll a strength save to avoid taking critical damage. Okay, so you can continue. So mark down your strength. Obviously, we should have already done that, and you can continue on. All right, then the 2 of you can now go. What do you want to do?
I want to sledgehammer, because I'm assuming if it's a chair, you kind of have that like middle section. So I'm trying to like whack at that to kind of separate it from its means of movement.
Yeah, it just seems like a torso with like a tweed suit over top of it, and it's got like a cigar sticking out of its mouth. It got these big red, like a red visor eyes, and it's just no legs. It's just part of the chair, just wheeling around at you. So you're swinging at it. You're in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Douglas.
Yeah. Swing and low to try to
Okay.
keep it.
I'm just gonna flintlock pistol to the little visor eyes.
Okay. So this is, both of you roll your damage, and we'll take the higher of the 2 rolls.
That's 5. That's yours.
So Douglas should go right after its eyes, and that will do 5 damage to it. And it will it'll get shot in the face, and you'll see like half, like one of its eyes just like kind of like depowers, and only the right side now is actually colored red, and it and like you'll hear from some other part of its body, but not its mouth, like it's calling for help. But then it'll go ahead and try to once more like swing out at somebody. I think this time around it's going to take this rapid pumping piston that's got this appendage at the end of it, it's like a big finger, and it's as if it's like the thing that you're using to tabulate. 1 to 3 again, it'll be Douglas, and then 4 to 6 it'll be Vilta. It's 1, so it'll go after Douglas this time, and so with its tabulator, it'll do 5 damage to Douglas. Just
Okay, so that zeroes out my HP and brings me down to 4 strength.
Okay, roll a strength save.
Dear, that's low.
And you need to
Yeah.
And you fall, like you just and you just fall over. Vilta, what would you like to do here? This thing is it's calling for help.
I'm gonna sledgehammer it again.
All right, go ahead and roll your damage.
6.
And that will go ahead and take it into its strength. And so I'll clear its HP, and let me go ahead and roll my strength save.
Go critical injury.
And it will, so with the second smash, where do you hit it?
Wherever I was hearing that call for help come from.
Okay, so it's just like right in the chest. It was just like, and you just smash and cave its chest in, and it goes, your fire. And it depowers. And we'll come back to you. Chuffwick and Simo, you are out of the room. You are looking about, and you have made it through a hallway that seems to be taking you into the direction of intake. You periodically see those small little Roomba things kind of moving about, but they seem to completely ignore you. They don't seem to pay attention to you whatsoever. But eventually, as you're following this this hallway a bit, you start to notice that it gets kind of moist, like there's water, and you can smell like almost like it's salt. And then you see a ramp going upwards. There's the same red lights that I described on the other side are going off here, like, and you can see a couple of them in the middle of the ceiling, but it's all going upwards, and it's sort of a slick ramp that comes up. As you're waiting and looking and peeking, you suddenly hear a, and this big old cow just comes sliding all the way down, and then continues to like slip and slide for a while, all the way back the way you guys kind of came from. Eventually, when you look back, you can see a few of the veterinarian doctors come out and like strap it down and and start to pull it into like the veterinary service offices. So it looks like that's the intake area up that ramp.
Okay.
Wait, so cows are sliding down from up there?
Yes.
Because it's slippery.
And if you wait, you will see more livestock are also sliding down from up there.
Oh. And how steep is this ramp?
Oh, like a 45-degree angle.
There's no like handles or anything along the walls.
There are in fact handles on the lawn. There's like a continual bar on either side.
Is it like water that's making it slippery?
It definitely seems very damp in here.
So can I, as I try and like walk up, I'm gonna use my broom to kind of like help move some of the water, the moisture.
Okay.
Always sweeping.
Okay. Or finally starting to, the anesthetic that you took is starting to wear off. Your mouth is a little not working, but you're at least kind of awake.
I'm just defaulting to basics, which is sweep.
Okay. All right. But the two of you, are you going up?
Yeah, if this is the only way, let's try to get up.
Okay. You head up. Well, it's not the only way, but it's the only way that you chose from the last time we talked.
Yeah.
So you go up a ways. Why is that not opening? 1 second. There it is. Okay. So you move up. The closer you get up, the more and more it's getting wetter. That smell of sort of salt is sort of wafting through. You're seeing like kind of like sludge and stuff on some of the seams of the walls here and there. But it's a little bit of hell on your thighs. Like it's just like, oh God, this is crazy. And it's very slippery. So every now and then you slip, but grab onto the railing and you're able to get up there. But eventually when you get to the top, you notice that you are in a fairly open and cylindrical room. You are halfway up that cylindrical room on some kind of ledge. And when you look down, you can see that there are all sorts of gears and conveyors and lifts and such that are moving this way and that. There's this big old crane that's in the middle. And at the bottom, when you look down, you see that animals are kind of getting loaded up on that and like swept up and moved over in your direction. You like hide off to the side and it drops a couple animals and they just fall right down the chute back the way you came. You can also kind of like vaguely hear some kind of like it kind of through the walls a bit, but it's kind of hard to hear. You can see that there only appears to be like one machine actively moving around. And then it looks like the crane is its own separate machine, but there's like one individual like robotic creature down there that's moving around, seeming to kind of connect a bunch of the animals together, and then the crane like put them on like a little platform, and then the crane lifts them up and drops them over here. When you look, there is a small ramp going down. It's not a staircase, it's just a ramp going down. All of it's very slick here. What would you like to do?
So there's nowhere else for us to go up and out?
When you look around, you don't notice any clear like elevators or such. You do notice these little circular patches here and there on the wall, on the ceilings, like in the walls, like on the opposite side of the cylindrical room. And you notice there is as you're waiting, there is an elevator in here, but it seems to be coming from below. As like every so often, as you're waiting and looking, you see like there's this giant hole in the middle of the floor, and after like maybe like 10 minutes of watching, you suddenly see a lift emerge and there's dozens of animals on it.
But it's not going up anymore. It just comes up.
No, it just seems to be going, coming from below.
Long, what do you think?
So the way you're saying going down is a different way than when we came?
It's just this long chute that seems to go down, and every so often a lift will come up from below and there'll be like dozens of animals on top of it. And that's where that one machine guy will come around and start like wrapping stuff around them and connecting them to the crane. And then the crane will pick them up, drop them off over by where you all came in, and down the chute they go. This is intake. It seems to be grabbing the animals and pushing them into the factory somehow. Why the animals are coming down from below, who knows? But they are.
Where's this robot at?
Moving around at the bottom, kind of around that large hole in the ground.
I want to get closer to that, but like carefully.
Okay. Roll a dex save then.
Got it. Ooh.
Okay.
That is.
So.
Oof.
You go moving down the ramp to get closer, and it's just too slippery. Your leg kind of goes numb. You're still not quite over the anesthetic, and you go sliding down that into a handful of like canisters and crates, like these old like lifts, like what are they called? Pallets. There we go. And you just make all sorts of noise. And moments later, Simo, you watch as this machine quickly zooms right over. And is right there kind of looking down at you. Doesn't say anything, just sort of looks down at you quizzically.
I'll just say, I was told there's an exit I could use here. I was cleaning and I fell down, and she'll just hold up the broom like that's all the answer she needs.
Roll a charisma save. And every time it moves its head, it just sort of. Okay.
There you go.
And it'll say like this really kind of like rough and not very good grammatically, but it will. Where you destination?
She would say, oh God. Distribution. Main assembly.
Okay. They'll say reverse course.
And she will do that.
Okay. As you get up and start climbing, you will hear the machine behind you say, "Are well you."
Say "are well you"?
Yeah.
Oh,
remember, it's broken English. It's asking if you're a whale.
If I'm a whale?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
And then she'll pause. Do you need any cleaning?
No. And it puts its head down after you say, no, you're not a whale, and just like almost sadly starts to motor back over to the hole in the ground.
It just wants to see a whale someday.
Whale, whale, whale.
Whale oil be fucked. Whale oil beef hooked. You can do an Irish accent.
So then what she would do is just kind of like look at Simo like, what do you want to do?
Okay.
He didn't hit me.
Now, if anything, it seemed kind of sad. And every now and then you hear through the walls in the ceiling like, oh. Something like that, kind of echoing throughout the cylindrical chamber. And like everything on all the walls and stuff here are metal. And so it's just like echoing, like something coming from outside.
Oh, like a whale? Because we're underwater?
I don't know. Acting like I plan any of this. All right, I'll let you two think, and we'll come back. Douglas and Vilta. Vilta, you just finished smashing this this calf, and it's now there on the ground.
So now I need to try to get Douglas up.
Calorica, assessor, and lead fromagere. And Douglas is there, so you can take a moment to attend to him. So he doesn't.
That I will do.
He doesn't die. And you can choose. The two of you can choose to rest if you want. Take a couple minutes to rest here and get your HP back. But you do know that it was calling for help, and you do know that there is a red alert going on. When you peek out the office, you don't notice the other office is opening. Office doors don't seem to be opening to the butchery lead, or to the other one. I can't remember the name of it. But what do you want to do?
So Vilta will ask Douglas, can you just hang on a little longer till we get outside? I don't know how much longer we should just sit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So you're just gonna try to carry him out?
Question about the fireplace. Is it just for looks or does it actually go up?
If you go and peek and you look up, it's just for looks. But the booze seems real.
Would the booze help restore any HP?
No, but it's pretty good stuff. You start looking at some of the names of the bottles, and you're like, oh my, like this is some good stuff. And there's like a
pocket a bottle or two for our.
The robot had
The
robot had a cigar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a lighter on his desk?
Yeah, you do find a lighter, and you find like in a drawer there's a lighter, and there's a fairly big box of cigars.
Sure, I'll take the cigars. I'll take the lighter, and then I'll tear off some pieces of cloth from his tweed suit and grab 2 decanters and stuff cloth into them to make some Molotov cocktails.
Beautiful. There's 13 cigars in the box, and each one of them so that'll affect the price later when you try to fence it. But you have some.
I'll grab 2 bottles of booze that are not Molotov cocktails that are just for us to bring back.
Okay, fair enough. So you got a couple Molotov cocktails, but treat them like blast. So if you get to throw them, it's basically it'll hit the creature you're targeting and whoever is standing near to it. But are you leaving? You're leaving the executive suite?
Yeah, if we can't use the chimneys, we're just gonna have to find another way out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's not like a window or anything here because we're underground.
No, there are windows, but like when you open them up, they're just like paintings of the outside.
Sure.
Yeah. So you head out and you continue down the hallway, and you can see that you're on you come to a room that has these 2 big doors that leads into the exiled waste room. When you open up the door, it smells just god awful in here. It smells like a combination of like rotten feces and meat, all sorts of foul. It's almost like a sewer in here. As you're watching, it's kind of a giant hexagonal room. There's a big old chute at the very top, and there's a staircase that seems to go up to it on the other side of the room. And when you're looking down, it's just this massive, like the entire floor is like almost like a massive pile of waste. You're seeing like body parts from cows, body parts from goats. You're seeing body parts from humans. You see certain people who have the same colored like uniforms that you on that are just down there kind of ripped apart. You see bits and pieces of kind of metal down there. And you can see like there's like a baler off to the side, and there's this machine that just keeps loading them up. And then you can see it just kind of cubes everything down. It seems to be separating as best it can, getting like the machine parts to one side, but then the fleshy parts to the other. And it puts all this stuff into a baler and then shoots these cubes of just mismanaged muck off through another hallway on the other side of the room. What would you like to do?
Plug our noses and look for a door that leads up or out or somewhere.
You do see, so let's say you all come in on like the western side of the room, you can see that there is another way out, but that seems to be like the way that those cubes are being sent. There is a giant chute up in the ceiling, and there is a staircase on like the northeast side of the room that crisscrosses up the or kind of hexagonally goes, not hexagonally, diagonally goes up the wall, and seems to be able to connect to that chute.
So the only way out is climbing up the shit chute.
Yep.
Those cheese curds that I got last time, what did they restore? They had 4 uses.
It should be in your inventory, or it should be in the inventory under the oddity. No, not under oddity. It should be under consumables. So regenerative cheese.
Oh, that's right. I
curds
forgot.
one curd can restore a point of strength or dex, and 1 jar contains 2d4 curds.
Man, I only got 4. I rolled terribly.
Yeah, you did.
I have 4 strength, so if I ate 3 of those, that would restore me back to full. Are you missing any strength or anything, Viltra?
I am, but I've got a ton, so I'm fine.
Oh, jeez.
You can eat all of them.
She rolled good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm missing 4 and I still have 12 left, so I'm good.
Okay, yeah, then I'll just eat 3 of the cheese curds to get myself back up, and I guess I'll have to I keep saying Viltra and it's Vilta. I'll get back to full and I'll have to climb out.
Okay. So are you going to try to get over to the staircase?
That's the only way to get to the chute, right?
Dex saves to get across. As you're partially
then I'll use the last one to store.
Crawling over top of all the filth here and there. Doing your best to hide. All right, how did we do?
Nice roll.
Douglas,
That's good
man.
for me.
Am I able to pass on successes to her?
No, it doesn't work like Mutineer Zero. Sorry. But you managed to get across. At a certain point, Vilta, you sink. Like you're walking, you're like doing your best to like put your feet on top of like a large like cow carcass that seems all messed up. When you pass by some of the humans that are in like the same coveralls, you can see that all of them have like metal arms or something like that coming out of them. It's not just like a pure human. It's like it's almost like they're failed experiments in some way. Like they were trying to get certain pieces adhered to him and something went wrong. You can see like these burn damages or some weird thing. So there's all of these different like mechanical arms and legs and different things that you could grab if you wanted. Salvage maybe if you felt like trying to, but they are bulky, so keep that in mind. If you try to pick up 3 bulky items, you go to 0.
Yeah, I already have 2 bulky,
Okay.
But I'm already at 0 HP, so what would that do?
So it just means you can never benefit from a rest because you're always going to have those 3 bulky
Oh,
items. The only reason you're at 0 HP is because you 2 haven't rested yet.
Okay.
Okay. So you get across, you fall and slip in, Vilta. And it's like you slip right through this, oh God, just absolutely disgusting collection of liquid something. And when you get back up, you are coated in the worst kind of liquid. You can go ahead and you're going to take some charisma damage. So, so go ahead and take only 1. I'm rolling terribly. Only 1 point of charisma damage as you're just got this reek, this horrible stench about you.
Okay.
But the 2 of you do make it over to the staircase. You start clinking up. And there is a hatch up there. There appears to be a manual control if you wanted to hit the manual control.
Are there anything that I can use to wipe myself off?
No. There are there's nothing clean here. You can use
Just had to
Douglas.
check.
You can wipe yourself off on Douglas.
No, I'll not like negate any of his charisma stats.
Okay. But you okay, so do you want to wait for it to open on its own, or do you want to hit the manual control?
Hit the manual control and stand back so we don't get covered in something. And maybe Vilta should do it since she already smells.
Okay.
She thinks.
So you throw the switch on the manual control, and you hear like a as these grinds begin to happen, and the door slowly opens up like a bomb, like a bomb door. And you could crawl up, or you can use like this little ladder off to the side to set it up if you wanted.
I'm down to use a ladder.
Okay, so you move the ladder over, you climb up, and you have made it into what appears to be kind of a quality control center. And you look around, and there are all sorts of little work areas where robots of familiar look, and not robots, excuse me, process control technicians and such. You're seeing the same humanoids you've seen before. So people in like
Oh, thank
the
goodness there's
coveralls.
people.
They're the ones, however, who have like mechanical arms coming out, and they seem to be kind of sifting through some of the different creatures and such. You also notice off along the wall, there's this whole run, almost like stables, except in each stable, you see a blindfolded human just kind of sitting there. And there's like this weird, like almost like dentist-like concoction that's pulling their tongue out, and so their painted, colorful tongue is like sticking out. And every now and then you'll see one of the fromagers, like the one machine that comes by, will just come by and just put a dab of something, like right on their tongue. And then when you look at the tops of the heads of these humans, they're wearing some weird kind of contraption on their head with all sorts of these different cables and stuff. And like there's a little monitor nearby, and the process control technicians are like taking notes about what the readings are coming up. It looks like they're testing the taste bud reactions of whatever they're putting on these people's tongues. So we'll come back to you. Simo and Chefwhack, what do you want to do? What's the decision?
So are we still at this robot guy?
Yes, you are still at this robot guy.
All right. Hey, Mr. Intake, do you have a name?
And he gives you this really long alphanumerical designation. But you can call me Hab.
Tab.
Hab.
How long you...
With the
Tab, right?
H. Hab.
Tab.
Hab.
Tab.
Hab. There's no T. And then he murders you.
Oh, Hab.
Okay.
How long have you been working down here?
I have no time conception.
Do you mind if we go down to look for whale?
He's like, down? No.
Are you sure there's no whales down there?
No. There are, he's no.
We're trying to go up. How do we get out?
And so he points to back the way you came,
Uh-huh.
and then he points to like those circular things in the ceiling and in the walls to sort of the western side and the ceiling of the room. Like there's this little circular panels.
Is there a way to get this? Wait, there's a crane in here, or was that the other room?
There is a crane in here, yeah.
Can you use that? Can you help us get up?
He thinks about it. Roll a charisma save. Either one of you can do it. I don't care who.
Nice.
Yes. Affirmative.
And do you want to come with us?
Yes. Affirmative.
You should. I could show you whales that are out there.
Yes. Affirmative.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. So you get on this. So
I love him.
You guys jury-rig this little platform like they were using to load up the livestock, and they get the cables ready. You see that Hab goes over and like punches in some stuff into the crane so that aim it in a different direction, and it raises you guys up to one of these circular platforms in the ceiling.
And he's on with us, correct?
He's on with you, and it's like he's pretty heavy. He's a big dude. He's got big bottom. He's a bit pear-shaped, this guy. But he's up there with you. And when you get closer, you can see that these cylindrical panels have been welded shut. But Hab begins to start, he's got this blowtorch coming out of his arm, and starts just.
As he does that, does water leak out?
No, but you do see water spilling all sorts of different places. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. And so eventually he gets all the way around, and the thing pops and falls, and you can see that there's like this empty tube that moves for about maybe 15 to 20 feet until there's yet another one of these like cylindrical seals.
Let's go. We'll have Hab lead the way.
Okay, so you start climbing up as best you can, and Hab leads. You're kind of clinging to him. He's a big dude, and he starts at zzz, and as he's doing that, like that's when the water starts seeping through.
Oh God.
And he gets through, and then the water just rushes down on all of you.
Oh no.
I need the two of you to make strength saves,
Okay.
and if you fail, you're probably gonna die.
Oh no, this is so bad. Oh.
Oh, no.
The two of you in Hab go ahead and just get washed out of this tube as the entirety of the canal water just starts washing down into the room below, and you fall like a whole messload of feet. Both of you roll luck checks, and we'll see. If either one of you roll a 1, your character is dead. Okay, so both of you smash to the ground. Luckily, Hab was kind of clinging and holding onto you as best he could, but the three of you just smash back down to the ground. You see Hab is like all kind of crooked and getting covered in water, and it's just beginning to glitch a little bit as the water is covering him. But the two of you lose all of your HP. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and I need you, and so both of you can roll. Well, we're gonna do the strength save. Let's not do another strength save. So both of you lose all of your HP. And so the next damage you take, you will immediately be in strength. You'll be immediately in your strength. And the room is like sort of filling up with water, but a lot of it's starting to drain down that large shaft in the middle. But it's just constantly pouring water. Like the freaking canal is literally pouring into the room right now. And Hab is just like, like he's getting showered on by the water coming down. What are you two doing? No HP, barely alive.
There's no way
God.
like it'll stop anytime soon.
I
Or will fill
mean,
up the room.
you know how water works, right? Water
Right.
displacement works.
It's a whole
Yeah.
canal out there.
It's
Yeah.
a canal up there, yeah.
I'm just wondering if like at some point it'll like fill the room and we can swim out.
Do we know like how
There's-
close we are to like how deep we are?
Hey, party wipe. They just uncorked a canal, and now a canal is filling into the room that they're in.
And draining out the bottom.
I mean,
little bit.
You're probably pretty close to the bottom of the canal. Like, it's just a question of getting through a giant gushing water that's coming through that pipe.
I wonder once we're gonna wait until the water is no longer gushing and it kind of the hole it starts to even out, and then we're gonna swim for it
Until the entire canal is empty. And again, it's not really, the room's not really filling up with water. There's that
Oh, it's
central
not, huh?
shaft. Remember, there's that central shaft from which all of the livestock was getting intaked. Everything's sort of draining and circling around there. Like the room is a mess now because there's like
Just
water
a big old
rushing.
toilet bowl.
It's like a big old toilet bowl, yeah.
Okay.
So you're not in like
Oh.
danger of drowning.
Yeah.
Okay. You mean like you're clinging to certain things. You might be in danger of getting washed down the drain. Hab does not look to be going pretty well either. He's like, whales.
Or there's a new adventure down the
Aw.
drain.
And he depowers. It's up to the two of you. You guys just killed Hab.
I
Nice.
left him.
He was great.
Oh God, I don't know. Long, what do you want to do? Do I see anything that like is a possible other way to leave
I mean,
besides
there's-
the toilet bowl?
So there's three choices. There's the toilet bowl. There's trying to miraculously climb back up and through the pipe that is pouring water down from the canal, which is going to be incredibly difficult. And then there's back the way you came, which is to go up the ramp and back towards the veterinarian services.
Oh God,
It'll be down the ramp because you had to climb up to get in.
It's true.
that's true. Should we go back down the ramp?
Mm. All right.
Okay.
There's no way we get through this.
Okay. So you make it back over to the ramp. You've been you climb up the stairs first, and then you're bound the chute, and you're just sliding down like wee, slip and slide. Eventually, you get back down to the bottom. Water has not yet risen high enough in that intake room to really start gushing into here. You can see that you are back into the veterinarian services area. There's plenty of these vet doctors moving up and down. There's these animals in cages. You can easily hide from them. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
You see again another room that goes towards data analysis. You see that centralized lift that goes up, you presume, to that storage area above you. You just have to roll a dex save to get to it and use it. Or you can go over to data analysis. What do you want to do? Or you can try to get back into the office room and climb back up into the vent.
That sounds frightening. Do you want to try data analysis?
Yeah, that's fine. Let's move over there.
Okay. So you head over and you are in the place I described to Douglas and Vilta earlier. You are in this large cubicle-filled series of offices where there's a bunch of like pseudo-robotic humanoid types that are talking water cooler stuff. And you can see that there's a fire that broke out in one of the rooms, and there's all sorts of craziness happening over there. There's lights that are red and like alarms. No one really seems to notice you immediately when you enter because there's a little bit of chaos going on.
We'll use the chaos as a disguise to hurry on through.
Okay. When you look around, you do notice that there is a hallway on the far end that seems to lead towards exile, like the waste disposal and executive suites. And there's also what appears to be some kind of an emergency staircase that goes upwards.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That one.
Okay. So you start chomping up this thing, and you pop out. Roll a luck test.
6.
Okay. As you pop out, you look around, you can see that you are back in the livestock storage and disassembly level. And there are about a half dozen of those butchers that are moving about the room still. It looks like they've managed to get a lot of the let loose robotic animals under control, but they're still here. If you're looking to get past them, this staircase does seem to go to another level above you. Like you can literally ignore it and keep going up if you want it.
Yes.
Okay. And so you managed to get all the way up to livestock repurposing. When you get up here, the lights are no longer red. It just everything looks normal up here. And so you can see that there are all these different rooms where there's these laboratories that are using broken apart pieces of these creatures and packing them on to these metallic skeletons.
So it's been cleaned up from when that thing exploded?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a big room. Like you were on one side, now you're on a different side. So you're up here. Vilta and Douglas, you are in quality control. What do you want to do?
Look for a staircase or an elevator to go up.
Okay, there's none of that, but you do see that there is an exit into, on the western side of the room, into livestock repurposing. Like you see livestock repurposing center, and you know you've been there before.
Right, and now we're around people who are wearing our same uniforms.
Same uniforms as you. Vilta is covered in like sauce, but other than that, you all are,
yeah.
Look like
so then we're
polite way.
Yeah.
We'll just have to like walk with the purpose and like we belong there and just go straight for livestock repurposing.
Okay, and you walk with a
Do
purpose.
you agree, Vilta?
Yeah, definitely. If in the hallway, if there happened to be like a restroom or something, so I can grab some like paper towels and wipe off, I wouldn't mind that. But
you haven't seen
definitely walk with
any
a purpose.
You haven't seen any restrooms since like the first floor.
We'll just say we were doing maintenance in the waste room or whatever, the waste shaft.
No one stops you. A couple people, like, they move up to you, then they're, oh God, just go, just go. Oh, gee, oh, what is wrong with you? Oh, as they look at Vilta. But you manage to get out of quality control, and you are once again in livestock repurposing. But you notice the same thing, however. There are all sorts of butchers that are around here. Those big, dangerous-looking sorts with all the cleavers and tenderizers and hooks on them. The craziness of the loose. Oh, I'm sorry. You're actually one floor up. Here, you're seeing this is repurposing. So you're seeing all sorts of labs, the same thing, with things being done to creatures that are kind of awful.
This is where I sabotage those blood vial container things.
Yeah, but
do we see?
Good.
I was gonna say, do we see? I got down here through a lift, correct? Do we see that same lift or any other lifts nearby?
There is the lift that's sort of central. Yeah, there's like you know where it is. You can probably make your way over to there.
That's fine. So then I'll say to Vilta, like, I got down here on one of those. Like, we should just go for that. Just continue to try and act like we belong.
Okay. And you continue to do so. Like, you sort of move past. You can see that there's groups of people that are doing their work. They occasionally kind of look up at you, but you're wearing the uniforms and no one's really seeming to bother you too much. And they also seem to be really busy. Like, there's a lot of mess that has been made with the loose animals. There's lots of stuff that's been knocked over and such because some of them got up here. You can see that there's like a fromagere who's like kind of wheeling around from time to time and just like squirting cheese into different people's mouths. And others are like, oh, God, no, that. But eventually you find the lift and the two of you go up. And you make it into the cheese production and meat, like the production level. And this is where like people are kind of packing together like actual products. The last you saw, there was like this massive mess of like this pile of like cheese and meats that were kind of confused, and people were having to like hand carry it up the stairs to the sorting. That pile is much, much lower. What would the two of you like to do?
I'm in favor of just continuing to get up and leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As you start to leave, someone shouts like, "Aye, come on, you can help out with us. What's wrong with you? Come on.
Do you want this mess on the product? You don't want this. Yes.
Okay.
We will be on our way.
Right, you can, but why can't he lift something here? He ain't got death on him." He points over.
And I'm just gonna back up into him so that he is now messy.
Oh,
so that he
come on now. Yeah. You know, it's people like you who don't do your fair share of the labor, okay? It's people like you that make the whole system break down. You should be ashamed of yourselves, is what you should be. You should be ashamed. Just get out of my sight. Just get out of my sight. I can't.
Gladly.
You all make it up to sorting. And in the sorting, you see that there's the two assembly lines that are still not working. There's process technicians that are still working on the machinery here. And there's the door that goes out to the main assembly.
I make a beeline for that.
When you get out to the main assembly, it is like a mess out here. Like there's like, because the assembly line's not working. People are trying to pack things up. People are trying to load into all these different rickshaws and such like that. You can see that there's boats that are waiting for their delivery packages on, behind you. And then you look to the right, you can see the front door goes right past human resources. You can see to the left is the distribution, the warehouse. You can kind of go out that way. And Chuffwack and Simo will come back to you. You are in the livestock repurposing area. Where do you want to go?
This is where I was cleaning up the blood, right?
That was one step up, one floor up. I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Then we're just gonna try and safely find a way to get up, like a staircase or what have you.
Okay.
I was gonna say, doesn't the emergency staircase just go all the way up?
No, this one doesn't actually. There's different. This one only goes all the way up to the repurposing area, and then you have to take a lift to get back up to cheese production. There is another staircase, however, if you want to look for it, but you can get on the lift and go up, make it into cheese production and meat production. Okay. And you can see the same thing, like this slowly diminishing pile of meats and cheeses that has been. It's been worked on, but it's still there. It also smells kind of awful in here because a bunch of these cheese, like these meats, has kind of started to warm a bit. You two doing anything?
I'll pick up, or I'll head to the pile, shuffle like a little old lady, and as I'm bending to pick one down, I go, oh, as she holds her back, but she'll pick up one of the smaller chunks of cheese.
You hear somebody whisper like, "This is why we've got to have age limits on the people who work here. This is ridiculous. Like this is a young person's job. Like it's just taking up a position that could be for somebody else. Simo, what are you doing?
Leaving.
Okay, so one by one, you guys all get out. You're on the main assembly. You eventually run into each other at a certain point, like probably just bump into each other in the main assembly hall. Simo, Chefwhack, Vilta stanks to high heaven.
My God, where have you been?
It's a long story.
And you have
Indeed.
a choice. Do you want to go out the back through the distribution and try to sneak your way out? Or do you want to go out the front, just the normal way? Or do you want to go try and get back up to the executive offices and sneak out, go back the way you came?
There's a place where people clock in and clock out, right? Is that in the back or in the front?
It's in the main area. It's not neither in, like there's like a locker room, and then by human resources there's the clock.
I'll just take some of that like paper that I brought with me when I thought I could forge the recipe and just and hand one to each person and just say like time to punch out.
Okay, I like it.
Mhm.
Bringing it back. And so as you guys start to punch out, you start to leave. Someone's like, that old woman that you had spoken with, Chuffwick said, aren't you forgetting something, sweetheart?
Oh, and then she'll hustle in to go clean the office for her.
Thank you, but I meant you don't bring your uniforms with you. What's wrong with you?
I need to wash it today.
We've got services for that. What's wrong with you? Trying to take somebody else's job.
No. So then she'll head to the room to go change back.
Okay.
I'll just take it off here and like, all right, handle it. And I'll leave.
You're so rude.
Douglas will take his off, pick up Simo's and say, we apologize. We just know it's chaotic here and we were thinking we could wash our own clothes, and then he'll dispose of them wherever it looks normal to.
Okay.
And Vilta's going to take hers off and be like, are you sure you don't want me to take care of this?
Oh, I'm not the one who's going to just drop it on the floor. I'll get someone to fetch it. Ugh, God.
Thank you, ma'am.
I don't. You can take tomorrow off. So one by one, you all manage to get out. No one really gives you any sort of grief as you leave. And you have slowly but surely made your way out of the meat and cheese factory.
Finally.
Onto the streets. One of
Holy
you
smokes.
smells terribly. Two of you nearly drowned.
Oh my God.
What's the canal look like?
I mean, there's a lot of water in the canal. That's going to take a while, but like.
But I mean,
draining
is it
the
like...
ocean.
I feel like we definitely did a great job sabotaging with now flooding the whole under part with the canal. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we'll go ahead and end it there. So like we won't do the final tabulation. I'll do the final tabulations off air and stuff because Long and I both have a hard out at 6. So, but that is it. That is the end of our meat and cheese consortium. None of you died. You guys got damn close a few times to dying.
What a crazy
I can't believe we
place.
made it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm surprised I didn't drown.
yeah.
Bless the luck roll.
All right. So thank you for those of you who hung out and watched with us. Thank you for the sub, Adam, if you're still around. Thanks. Appreciate that. And we'll be back next week, I believe, but I think we're doing Mutineer Zero next week. I think that's our plan. So check on Twitter at lollygaggerco, and I'll kind of confirm that here and there. Other things we're doing. So if you catch us on Mondays on the same channel at 9 p.m. Central, you can find Melissa and I playing Vesson. Really, really fun new game from Free League. You can also get our Zweihander podcast on Mondays if you just search for Adventures in Lollygagging wherever it is that you get podcasts. And then let's see, Thursdays on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG. You can find us playing more Zweihander at 9 Central. Later tonight over on Defenders of Cobalt, twitch.tv/Defenders of Cobalt. You can find myself playing DCC, so Dungeon Crawl Classics, with a bunch of those Cobalt friends of ours. And yeah, a lot of fun. So that's about an hour from now. So can't rate them, but come back in an hour. And that's that. Thanks for watching, whether you were here live or whether you're watching this later. Definitely appreciate it. We will have more Electric Bastionland soon. probably maybe 2 weeks, I think. We'll double check the schedule, but we'll have more Electric Bastionland. It's a lot of fun and weird and crazy. But that is the end of our meat and cheese. I'm going to go ahead and put it
Thanks, everybody.
I'm going to put us on the end screen, and I'll probably find something to raid, maybe. I think that's what we'll do. All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.